And yet they are using our money and resources in order to fund and fight these wars, which for all intents and purposes is totally unconstitutional. Because it's not just the assent that your congressperson gives when a war takes place. It's the assent to spend and to have resources associated with that war. They're signing off on a tax bill. You see, when they don't have consent in something like the War Powers Act, these funds are funneled through to these clandestine wars, and you're not even really aware of it. This is because 9/11 happened, and we have the Patriot Act, and we can do all kinds of things now with the Patriot Act that we couldn't do before. But we could find ourselves in World War III very quickly in Syria, trust me. The Israelis have been taking missiles, shooting missiles into various Syrian airports. And last night the Syrians fired back. They fired missiles back. And those are Russian missiles, by the way. So they fired back at Israeli jets. Now, how close are we to World War III? Remember, it was the 17th. We talked about this on the show the other night, Ides of March. It's the 17th. This would be the day, potentially, that we'd see some action. And we did last night. It was after midnight. It was the 17th in Syria, and Syria fought back. They fired back. And so here come the 1,000 American troops right on time. Here come the B-52 bombers right on time. Trump's signing off on a massive military budget. Massive. Whew. Not good. Not good. So the spiritual ramifications for this are the kind of what I would call, again, disembodied reaction to violence and war. Because where are we now, right? So we are involved in foreign conflicts roughly in about 5 places: Syria, Afghanistan, Libya, Iraq still, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're in Yemen, that's 5. And maybe even Pakistan, that could be 6. We're involved in at least 5 fronts, either directly or indirectly, in terms of fighting. It's not good. Not good. So we have our own country that's split. As we are splitting other countries, as we split the nuclei of leadership in places like Egypt and Libya, our own country is being split. We're having our own version of the regime change here in this country coming from the left, radicalized, which is, of course, planned. But it's interesting, right? Would this exist? Would we be having this subatomic split in this country if we were not involved in these foreign conflicts from a place of denial? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's the case. Because we're dealing with the soul of a country. And this soul is in conflict. And we don't even really know it. We don't know it. Now, if Trump continues to bring more jobs and more prosperity back through lessening of taxes, raising of tariffs, he's got a big automobile deal he's announcing next week, then it will placate the masses, and the masses will be mostly okay with whatever it is we're doing over there, sight unseen, as long as we're able to put some food on our table. It's a weird trade-off, but we're still complicit. It doesn't make it any different. It just gives you more resources so that we can, wait out the inevitable. I talked about this, in the last hour. Terrorism will end when they say it ends. It'll end when they say it ends. And that will be finally when either Iran or Syria are flipped, and they're all part of the New World Order. This new global governance. And then we'll get the memo. The final leaders of ISIL, ISIS, Daesh have all been captured. And as a result, it looks like the war on terror is finally over. Oh, people will love that, right? It's like that fake bullshit when they said they killed Osama bin Laden. That wasn't Osama bin Laden. Come on now. Everybody knows that. I think they got Saddam Hussein, although maybe that guy wasn't Saddam Hussein either. But they did get Gaddafi. That I know. That was Gaddafi. They wanted to kill his ass. Osama bin Laden died a long time ago. Osama bin Laden, I believe he died, what was it, 2003? Or was it either 2003 or 2004? The guy had, he had terrible kidneys. He was on dialysis. How do you lead a revolution when you're on dialysis in a cave? I don't understand how that works. So they find some poor bastard that kind of looks like him, and he's watching cable TV in a shithole house, and all of a sudden these Black Hawk helicopters descend upon him, and he's like, "Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! What is happening? What is happening? What is happening? No! 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 No!" Out of respect, we'll bury him at sea. Because we must respect our Muslim brothers. They're courageous. Courageous foes. Islam is the new religion. You know that, right? It has been designated as the new religion. That's Saturn in Sagittarius. Hello. The last time, we got into this Sagittarian trip was when Pluto was in Sagittarius. We had the Christian Zionists. Christian Zionists who were hell bent on revelation. You're either with us or against us. And if you're against us, you're against God. And Lord have mercy, the unmerciful Jesus Christ, who's returning as Rambo. And he's going to mow your ass down. So you better repent. And that's what was happening during Pluto and Sagittarius. That's when 9/11 happened. Pluto and Sagittarius. The beginning of the new crusade. And now we have Saturn in Sagittarius. And guess who won? This is really ironic. Right? This is really ironic. It's kind of like World War II. Like theoretically we fought the Nazis in World War II. And we were supposed to have won World War II. But who really won World War II? It was, number one, the Soviets. I mean, look at all the land they got. Man, they just went, they pushed westward, and they stopped right at the gates of Berlin. And they got everything else behind it. That was a huge win for them. Am I right? Yes. And the other people that won in World War II secretly were the Nazi brain trust. Because they got to come to the United States and they got involved in Operation Paperclip, and we had all kinds of interesting technology, secret technology, all this stuff. So they won. And all those people that were into the kind of the Nazi version of eugenics and the master race, they just grabbed the best and brightest. It was a brain drain. So they won. Right after that, what do we have? We have the OSS, then we have the CIA. And who helps create the CIA? It's British intelligence and people like Reinhard Gehlen, who were part of the SS. So the intelligence communities won through the Nazis. So who really won World War II? Oh, and by the way, then we have the Exodus and the right of return of the Zionists to Israel, and they grab Israel finally because they have this massive drama of the Holocaust. No, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of Europe. Turn us all into lampshades. Hey, remember that Balfour Declaration thing? Let's go over there. Let's go grab that piece of land. I think that's the plan now. Did the United States win that war? I mean, look at Japan. Japan was decimated. But the globalists won. The corporateers won that war because right after Japan went down, they started the Marshall Act to rebuild Japan, and all the American corporations went over there and started building stuff really cheaply. That was the first real movement towards outsourcing. It was right after the Japanese War, through the Marshall Plan. Sony, I bet you didn't know this, stands for Southern... Hold on a second. Sony stands for Standard Oil of New York. Hello? Is there anybody in here? Standard Oil of New York. Sony. It's a rumor, but it's a really good rumor, and I believe it because how do you start these corporations? Do you think that the Japanese, after a war, have the money and the wherewithal to start these corporations? No, they don't. So who won that war? Ultimately, it was the corporations, but then the Japanese, they won that war. Like, over time, what happened to our economy? It got outstripped by the Japanese. We started to get Japanese cars and Japanese TVs and Japanese receivers, and it was all Japanese. The Japanese won the war. In the long term, they won the war. Now, who won 9/11, the war out of 9/11? Who's winning that war? Are we winning that war? We're not winning that war. If it's a war between the Christians and the Muslims are getting their asses kicked. They're getting their asses kicked because Islam has been, I don't have a complete, and I'm not an Islamophobe, and I don't have the complete document, but I can tell you based on my intuition that it has been chosen as the new world religion. It has been chosen as the new world religion. It has been chosen to displace Christianity. Now, not everybody at the highest level would adhere to being a Muslim. But I'm telling you right now, they have the birth rate and the, excuse me, the organizing principle and structure behind it is one, if you are of the more extreme version, like the Wahhabists, it is a complete and utter total model of control. It's total control. It is the religious state where government and religion are merged together under a very totalitarian yoke. It's the ultimate form of control. And that's why it's been chosen. So this is big. This is really big. So who's winning that war? America is becoming more Islamicized by every single day. What's happening with Europe? Europe's screwed. Europe is totally screwed. Sweden's over. Sweden's done. Germany, Merkel just wants more and more and more. More and more Muslims. France, more and more Muslims. Who's winning that war? And a lot of this happened because of these conflicts that have been taking place in the Middle East. Displacing people, killing their relatives. Yeah, absolutely. And that's how wars come home to roost. That's how the disembodied violence returns to its genocidal source. Saturn in Sagittarius was predated with Saturn in Scorpio. And that's when a lot of the pedophilia stuff started to come out, which I talked about on my website back when Saturn was in Libra. Look, I don't often sit here and say I told you so, but I told you so then. I told you it was coming. I told you it was coming. And it came with Jerry Sandusky, and it came with Jimmy Savile.